Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. How's everyone doing today? Let's see. What do we have? I just feel so energized today. I don't know why. Maybe it's the sun. We're having some great weather over here. Yesterday was beautiful. Today's beautiful. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Just makes me want to play. So you guys are going to get an earful today because I have my guitar plugged into this MG300 from NUX here, and it's going into my FR speakers. So I don't know if the sound is going to be too loud or too low, but I don't really care. I'm just going to play. You know what? Sometimes it's just a question of getting the stress out, you know? So I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's okay today. Good morning to everybody that's already here. 15 people already in the house. Nice to see you guys joining me again. There's a couple of questions already going past here. I'll jump in and say good morning to everybody. So today's number 40, guys. I'm clapping for myself. I'm patting myself on the back. 40 shows in. And of course, a big thank you to all you guys, because otherwise I'd be standing here talking to myself. So you guys make it a lot of fun. And I'm glad you guys are sticking with me, because I think we have a great time here on Sundays. So to celebrate the 40th live hangout show, of course, I always put the coupon codes for merch. Well, today I'm giving you 40%. So if you guys have been on the fence and maybe you want to get a Addicted to Gear t-shirt or something like that, grab it today. You're saving yourself 40%. Give me a thumbs up if the sound is okay, guys. Just more or less the voice. It might be a little bit too hot. I don't know. I tend to talk a little loud sometimes, and maybe the guitar is too loud too. But give me an indication of what you're hearing on your side. So this is this cheapy guitar that I reviewed for you guys, the Van Goya. And it's fun to play, man. I love the fretboard on this thing. I don't know, it's just the fretboard and the fact that it weighs like nothing. It's like it's almost like you have a styrofoam guitar. So I don't know, I love playing it. I just have a lot of fun with this thing. Of course, the pickups are gone. The stock pickups I took out. I had a set of old cheapy Fender pickups that I pulled out of another guitar, so I put it in here. I mean, they're not the best pickups, but I can get some squeals out of it, which is fun. And I mean, overall, I'm having a great time with this thing. I think it's you'll notice that the name is gone on the headstock. The reason I did that is because the neck was kind of raw wood, and I decided to just sand it with steel wool to make it really nice and smooth. And I just applied a light finish of gunstock oil and a little bit of wax, and feels great now. But of course, the name is silk screened on, so when you do that, it just rubs off. No big deal. I don't really care about that. Eventually, I need to change the tuners on this guitar. And although the bridge is like a cheapy bridge or whatever, it works okay. Eventually, I might upgrade it or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But right now, I just keep it lying around so I can play around with it. So I thought I'd plug in today. give you a little taste of this MG300 while we're talking. So good morning to everybody. Let me jump in and say good morning because you guys have been diligently patient with me. And I want to say good morning to everybody. Alan, good morning. He says, happy 40th. Thank you, buddy. I really do appreciate that, man. Jack Collins is here too. I asked the question at the top of the chat this morning. The question was whether or not you guys feel that guitar is slowly dying away from modern music. What do you guys think? I mean, you know, the old discussion everybody's had and the old comment is that, you know, guitar has been dying out from music for the last, I don't know, 50 years, but it's still hanging in, you know. So when I listen to modern music today, I feel that, I mean, guitar is not as prevalent as it used to be. There's no, you know, three-minute solos in the music today. It's really just a bunch of chords and arpeggios and stuff like that. And yeah, you got to play for the music, and you know, the rock star thing is kind of guitar rock star or guitar hero thing is kind of a little bit passé. I don't know if we have any real guitar rock star heroes that are not, you know, from the heyday, any modern ones anyways. I mean, there's always going to be people like Joe Bonamassa and stuff like that, and but he's in the blues. Like, I don't consider him mainstream because, you know, I don't turn on my local radio station and usually hear any of his stuff being played. You know, it's not on the top 40 type of thing. So I guess until that happens again and we have a new guitar hero that we can look up to, I guess the guitarists are going to have to stand back a little bit and let the singer and the guys playing the sequencers take over, at least for a little while. I hope it's not going to stay like that, though. So who else do we have in the house? TL Pedals Canada. Hey, how's it going, Tim? For those of you who don't know, TL Pedals, Tim Lewis is the mastermind behind TL Pedals, and Tim was gracious enough to join me just the other night for a long chat regarding his pedals and just pedals in general. And I'm going to be posting that shortly, probably early next week. We had a nice long, interesting chat about pedals and gear and all that kind of stuff. So for those of you who are fans of TL Pedals, tune in for that. TL Pedals is basically this. This is the Honker Overdrive from TL Pedals, and it's basically based on the Tube Screamer circuit with a few tweaks to it. And the tweaks are beautiful because they basically take a Tube Screamer and take it to the next level. And I'll go over all of that stuff with you when I do a nice full review of this pedal, which is also going to be coming up. And if you guys are interested, check out TL Pedals Canada. You can go to his website. You can go to the Reverb page where he has a bunch of pedals for sale there. So good morning, Tim. Thank you for tuning in. Jack Collins, he's in Louisiana. Hi, Jack. How are you, buddy? How are things there? Are you guys all out of danger now with all of this crazy fires happening in California? And I hope none of you guys are in those areas and safe. Every time we log in on Sunday, it seems like it's a weather report. We had like floods at one point, now fires happening and COVID happening and all kinds of stuff. It's almost like the disaster report live on Sunday mornings. So hopefully everybody's safe. Hey Tim, how are things in Chicago? I love Chicago, man. One of my favorite cities. I miss it. I've been there a long time ago, and I'm due to go back. Great city. So Tim says that in his opinion, guitar in general has been on a rise, but the guitars used in today's mainstream music is way down. Sadly, it's mostly computer-generated material, often lacking people playing actual instruments. I don't know if that's just a sign of the times, Tim. You know, like I think in general, the new generation seems to be suffering from ADD, attention disorder, and they can't really focus long enough, some of them, to actually have the patience to sit down and put the hours it takes to learn how to play an instrument. And of course, it's a lot easier to work with loops and sequences and stuff like that. You don't really need to know how to play an instrument to be able to string those along and come up with something pretty creative. So it's not necessarily a bad thing in my opinion. It's just the next thing, you know what I mean? It's sort of like the evolution. I just wish that they maybe would merge that with some real instruments. I was listening to some radio. Actually, it wasn't radio, it was streaming from my phone when I was in the car the other day. And for some reason, I came on, it was on some kind of a disco channel, disco station or whatever, stream. And although I'm not a big disco guy, I mean, at least in those days, the instruments that were being played for most of that type of music was real musicians. And you listen to the beautiful bass lines that they have, the grooves, and the music just feels so warm and human. And today it seems like although the singers are quite good, I have to say most of the modern singers really do have the chops that it takes. Of course, they have some help with auto-tune and all that kind of stuff to make it polished. But in general, the singers are quite good today. But I just feel that the rest of the music is a little bit lacking. You know what I mean? It's just not as warm and human as it used to be. So call me old-fashioned, but that's just what I feel is the trend. I'm just gonna switch through some patches. They're not all good, but I'm trying to get something clean. One of the things I really like about this unit, they do have there's some nice clean sounds in here. I don't know if you can hear that. And the funny thing with these multi-effects, a lot of them have trouble with the cleans. This one doesn't. This one is not the cleanest, actually. This is an AC-15. I think I have a jazz chorus. Yeah, this is jazz chorus. You can hear the chorus effect. Nice sound, you know? Okay, who else do we have in the house? I'm getting distracted here. Sorry, guys. Cushman, good morning. Guitar teaching is down where I take lessons, but it could be the virus. I'm thinking it's the virus, man. I think it really is. I think just people in general are playing it safe, which is not a bad thing. It's actually good to see. I actually started giving lessons recently too, and I usually don't do that, but it's through video, and it's really hard to give lessons through video. You really need that human touch. You know, it's kind of like you're doing this and like, can you see this chord? And put your finger here and do this. It's not exactly the most fun way of giving courses, but it's, I guess, the safest way for now. So I'm sure it'll come back. Hey, Alan, good morning. How are you? How are things in the UK? Fanboy already in the room. Hey, everyone. Corky Cat, nice to see you, my friends. All musical instruments seem to be out with today's artists. They all seem to use backing tracks and can't play anything. Yeah, I agree. It seems to be the trend, but hopefully that'll change, you know? At the end of the day, it's like we do, in a way, treat, I guess, the modern musicians a little bit more, a little less, how can I say this? I mean, let me put it this way. Like, I'm not a huge fan of, let's say, Lady Gaga or something like that. I'm not a big fan of her music, but I did watch the documentary, and after watching the documentary, I do have a new respect for her. I mean, she definitely can sing, and she's definitely a good performer. Although I'm not crazy about the music per se, she does put everything into it, and you can see why, you know, the money that these people make is really, I mean, it's justified in terms of how much energy they put into it. They're basically putting their lifeblood into it. They're putting every waking moment into their career, and they're working hard, putting on shows and everything. It's not an easy thing, man. You got to be on all the time. If you have a headache or a stomach ache or something like that, nobody really cares. You know, there's a stadium filled of people waiting for you to go on, and you got to go on. And you know what I mean? They give up a lot of privacy too. I mean, you're giving up your life. You're giving up your privacy. You can't walk this down the street without being hassled, and you know it comes with the territory. I mean, that's what fame is all about. But at the end of the day, it's a lot to give up. So I look at it that way, you know. Um, let's see. Jack Collins says, Alan, you beat me this morning. Yeah, Alan was early, man. He was the first one here. Good morning from Long Island. According to all indications, the guitar is on its way back. The guitar manufacturers and companies are posting record sales. Yeah, that's a great point, Bruce. I noticed that as well. About a week ago, there was an article on that where they were saying um, how it was. I think it was Fender that posted record sales for 2020. That means that they sold more than any other year, which is great. I mean, for me, that's fantastic news. I mean, it's great news for them too if they can run all the way to the bank with all those sacks of money that they're filling up with the guitar sales. But it's good to see that people are getting into guitars, even if it's just during COVID, just to sort of get their mind off the craziness. Because let's face it, guys, guitar in general, playing guitar is like therapy. At least for me. I can't really do dive bombs with this bridge as much because it does go out of tune. Speaking of that, I mean, did you guys catch the video I did on the Vega Trem? I put 2 videos this week on that, and one was just going over the Vega Trem in general. The other one was basically the install. I installed it on, do I have it here? Yeah, I installed it on the Kramer. I might as well let me grab the Kramer there for a second. Just let me put this guitar down. Let me grab this Kramer so I can show you. Let me show you this close up. I don't know if it's in tune. Let me just see very quickly. So you guys have noticed that people are buying more gear. The funny thing is it's not just Fender. It's also, I read an article just yesterday regarding Positive Grid. I don't know if you guys know about the Positive Grid Spark amps, but they also sold over, I think, 100,000 of those things. 100,000, man. That's a lot of amps, but they're doing well, so that's fantastic. I think it's super great to see companies selling their stuff and not suffering because people need to work, man. All right. Let me just change. It's a little bit of a darker sound. This guitar, this is a JB, Seymour Duncan JB in the only pickup position, which is the bridge. This is a Kramer Beretta Special, which is a steel, guys. And I wanted to buy another one. They're sold out everywhere. You can't find them. I don't know if they're even going to come back because Gibson now is re-releasing the Berettas, and I think they're wiping out these budget ones because they were under 200 bucks, man. And I should have grabbed another one because they're so great. I think I've only seen them in white now, and I'm not crazy about white unless you're intending on painting it like the EVH Stripe series, you know. Black is nice because it's, you know, subdued. And anyways, I put in the Vega Trem, guys, so here it is. And a great quality bridge. It's kind of ruined it for me now because it feels so smooth that all the other bridges kind of feel stiff to play. And actually I can go so, look at this. Look how far down I can do this. You can take the bridge and just do this. Like you can touch the front of the guitar. Look at this. You know what I mean? So it's almost like you have no limitation. You can actually pull it back up too and break your strings if you want, but it's a great trem, super smooth. Of course, the strings on this guitar, I just changed them. So they're going to go out of tune a little bit, especially when you're doing dive bombs like that, because I don't have a lock on the nut. But it's actually not too bad. I'm surprised, because usually guitars that have a headstock like this, which is basically the hockey stick type headstock, they go out of tune like crazy normally. This one doesn't. Not as much anyway. The other one which I have that has a headstock like this or similar to this is the Jackson. The Jackson goes out of tune far more frequently than the Kramer does. Let me try and get, what do I have here? Let me try and get, I have a bunch of sounds, but some of them have too much. Some of them just have too much reverb and delay. This is a Steve Vai patch, Crying, I think. I love doing the gurgles, that kind of thing. You can do that all day long with this thing. Anyway, let's just go back to some good mornings here. Jack says everything's good here, just trying to fix the house up a little bit. Haven't showed no more guitars yet. I don't know if you're just keeping everything safe for now, but hey Mark, got your coffee. Awesome, man. I already drank my coffee. I just got water. So cheers to you, buddy. It's good that sales are up, but how many are sold and end up under the beds or on eBay? Yeah, I know, but that's good for us, right? It's okay. If they sell them, we pick them up and we get them at a discount. No issues there. I'm okay with that. Guitars are back for the wrong reason. There isn't really resurgence in music per se. It's that many people take up a hobby during the COVID pandemic. Let's see how many stay after COVID. You know what? I mean, even if it's just a small percentage that stays playing guitar, it's still good, man. I don't know. I'm just happy about it. You know, how many times have we heard that, you know, the economy is not doing well and companies are not doing well and stuff. So especially during COVID, we should encourage them. Like I said, people need to work. Henry, good morning. Strat 5150, good morning. Says hi to all the fellow guitar nerds. For the question of the day, I heard that guitar is making a comeback with young kids like Taylor Swift, but I don't know because I don't listen to new music. Yeah, me too. I don't really listen to new music all that often either. Unless it's on the radio, but honestly, I hardly ever listen to the radio anymore because I just feel that my playlist is much better. Let's see here. I don't want to go to the stock. I don't want to go to the factory patches in this thing because I got a lot of question about the FR speakers. A lot of questions about the FR speakers from some people, and honestly, I've been trying to keep up with the comments, and it's been very difficult because there's just so many coming in now. You know, beyond the fact that we're at 40 live shows and I post new videos every day, or try to post new videos at least a couple times a week. We're almost up to 15,000 subscribers now, which is fantastic. I just got a little notification in my inbox yesterday saying that I have 300 videos posted. And I didn't realize that I posted 300 videos. That's thinking back, I'm thinking, wow, that's a lot of videos. I wonder how many hours I put into all those videos. It's funny, you put in all those hours and who gets all the money? YouTube. Not me, that's for sure. I'm getting pennies. So it's like, thanks for nothing, YouTube. So let's see here. Tim, good morning. Fat Philosopher, good morning. How are you, man? Nice to see you, buddy. The next guitar, Henry says, my next guitar could be an ES339 Gibson Custom Shop 209. Red cherry, secondhand, excellent condition with bare knuckle pups, the mule, 1,700 euros. Would you go for it? Duh, I would. You know what? I like the 335s more than the 339s just because I feel the 339 body is just a little bit too small. It's almost like they should have an in-between size between the 339 and the 335. But, you know, red cherry, beautiful color, bare knuckle pups in it, beautiful pickups, and the price doesn't seem to be exaggerated. So, yeah, if that's the guitar you like, man, grab it. Definitely. I have a soft spot for those hollow body guitars like that, semi-hollow bodies. I have two already, a Gibson and another brand, but if I can find an old one, man, with the block inlays, you know, red with, you know, translucent red where you see the grain, that's my one of my dream guitars. I'd love to have one of those. Maybe one day I'll get lucky enough to find one. Strat 5150 is asking, Henry, do you get the stock pickups also? Yeah, that's a good question. Do you get to keep the stock pickups? I don't know if they're putting in burst buckers in there or 57 classics, but it would be good to have the stock pickups just in case you want to go back. Always in super form, Tony. Obviously, you don't know me too well, man. I'm getting old. Everything hurts. I try to keep up a brave face, but yeah, I'm getting old, man. I'm starting to make the old man noises when I tie my shoes. Actually, I prefer to have shoes where I don't have shoelaces. I just slip them in. Yep, but once retailers run out of stock, you're screwed. Have a look at Thoman's site, for example, waiting times of months for models that should have been on the shelves in the hundreds. Yeah, I agree, man. I think what a lot of these companies are doing, they're drop shipping the stuff. You know, they don't necessarily ship from their warehouse. They probably ship directly from where they're getting the guitars from. And that's maybe why there's a lot of people complaining about quality control with these guitars. Because some of them, you know, you get lucky and they're set up nice. Maybe some of them do ship from Thomann, where they get a chance to see them first, and maybe other ones don't. Maybe they go great directly from the supplier, and in that case, I think everyone's pretty much back ordered. I see even on Amazon, a lot of the sellers that sell even the cheapy guitars, everything's out of stock. So you got to be patient, I guess, and see what happens with that. Hopefully, the stock will come back really soon. We'll see. Good morning, Michael Scott. I think guitar's on its way out. No one plays anything anymore. Don't say that, Michael. Come on. Bite your tongue. We have to encourage our kids. Throw some instruments their ways. Their way. If you have kids out there, man, throw them a guitar, throw them a bass, give them some piano lessons, you know, whatever. I regret not taking piano lessons. I love playing guitar. It's my primary instrument. I also played drums for a while. I like to play bass. I like to play drums. The only instrument I never really was able to sort of teach myself. I mean, I can play a few chords and stuff, but piano is beautiful because when you learn piano, man, it applies to any of the theory, the music theory, and it's so so much easier because everything's laid out in front of you, right? Everything's so organized, simple, right? Alphabet in front of you, black keys are sharps and flats, the other keys are the natural tones, and at the end of the day, it's so much easier to figure out scales and chords, and once you learn that, you can apply it anywhere. I'd love to take piano. The only thing is the left hand coordination when you're, what I always found really freaky is that when you're playing piano, for those of you who don't know, you're reading two staffs of music at the same time. You're reading the treble, which is the right hand, and you're reading the bass, which is the left hand, and you have to read it and play it together, synchronized. So you're almost like splitting your mind in two. This part of your brain is controlling the right hand. This part of your brain is controlling the left hand. So whenever I see piano players that are like, they just blow me away in terms of how fantastic some of these guys are, and it's a lot of fun. You know, it's. I have a keyboard. You probably don't see it. It's right there. There's boxes and stuff on top of it right now. But every once in a while, I do plug it in, work out some chords and stuff like that, and it's a lot of fun. Um, Strat 5150 says, I know restock is a crapshoot. Yeah, you got to be patient. Just be patient, guys. Bruce says, bought one about 10 years ago and it started to delaminate around the F-holes. So I got rid of it. Really? Wow. I sure hope that doesn't happen with mine. Did you have it in a weird environment? Do you live in a humid environment or an environment that's not conducive to keeping guitars healthy? I'm surprised. Maybe they weren't generous enough with the glue. Who knows? Sounds like a defect to me. Good morning. The Calvi's in the house. Corky Cats. Let me just catch up. You guys are way ahead of me on the chat. Probably like I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. So if I skip any of you guys, I'm sorry. But I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you as I go back up the list. Fixteen Steen. Good morning. Alexander, I love Dave Murray's Strat. In case you were wondering, I never knew Hot Rails sounded this good. So you got the Dave Murray Strat. So you like, so for those of you who don't know, the Dave Murray is basically a normal Strat style guitar with a Floyd in it. And the single coils have the Hot Rails, I guess they're called. I don't know if they're actually the Hot Rails, but it looks like a really nice guitar, man. I don't have the hots for Floyds anymore. Hence the reason why I looked at the Vega Trem. I just find I don't know, Floyds are just a little bit too bulky for my taste and they're finicky, you know. And I like to down tune. I like to do alternate tunings. Like the other day, I was learning to play a song from Rod Stewart, The Faces. The song's called Stay, and it's an open E. So to be able to play those riffs at the beginning, you have to be able to tune to E. And, you know, when you're dealing with Floyds, you can't really do it. It's really like you gotta forget it. It's too complicated. So either you stay with a Telecaster or a Strat or something like that, or you get a type of bridge that allows you to do that, you know? Sorry, Tony, wasn't trying to be negative. My daughter plays guitar, bought her several acoustics and electrics, plays piano, keyboards, flute, and sings. Wow. Michael, you sounds like you have a very talented daughter there. That's fantastic. That's really super. If you're a parent, you do yourself a favor. Throw some instruments towards your kids. Don't force them, because that's the perfect way to turn them off from, you know, music in general. But if you see that there's an inkling of interest, encourage them, man, because you can basically put them on the path of a lifetime of enjoyment of music. It's the biggest gift you can give your kids, I think. I got some lip gloss. I got this. I don't know where I got this. Probably some some trade show somewhere. It says Reno Tahoe here. So got to keep the lips, the puckers moist because the wife doesn't like it when they get rough. um, Congratulations on 300 videos. I appreciate the time you put in. Love the Sunday morning shows. Thank you, man. Thank you, bud. I appreciate you being here, my friend. Vega Trem might become the Floyd killer. I mean, the quality is great, Fat Philosopher. I just wish the price was a little bit more affordable. Honestly, I'm not joking here and I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's butt just because I have one. But I mean, if the price was like 150, 175, I'd probably put one on all of my guitars because they're really that great. I mean, it feels so smooth. It really does. It's like butter, man. I mean, it does feel like a Floyd, honestly. And what I really like is the arm, the way it screws in. I've had some Floyds where even though they were the screw-in type, you would hear like a little noise, and it wouldn't be like a really satisfying, immediate control. You know, I don't know. I can't describe it. I had to actually buy another arm from someone else and put it in there for it to be nice and solid. This one doesn't do that. This one's like really nice. And I know you guys, some of you guys commented and you said, you know, they were laughing at me because the trem costs more than the guitar. But I don't look at it that way. I look at it like I just made a good guitar fantastic with this thing right now. So why wouldn't I? You know what I mean? I mean, I have the ability to really enjoy this guitar even more now and squeeze every last inkling of fun out of it. Why wouldn't I do it? I feel it's an investment because otherwise I maybe would get tired of this guitar and end up selling it. And why should I? It's a beautiful guitar. Got a really nice neck on it. Simple. There's no additional things like tone and you know, other pots to suck tone out of it. Eddie Van Halen had it right, man. One volume knob is all you need. One pickup is all you need. Most of the time, I'm going to say like 90% of the time, probably more, I'm only in the bridge position anyway. So, and going straight pipe through a guitar with just a volume, it makes a huge difference. If you guys don't believe me, try some of those Gibson guitars that have the pots that you can pull out to go direct. I have one, and I can tell you it's night and day, man. It's really night and day. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's see. 54 viewers today. That's really nice. Hey, James Abram Music. I've been a professional musician for 22 years, and I tried everything. Do get my son. I guess you mean to get my son to play an instrument. He's now 14. A few weeks ago, he saw a video by Davey 504, and now he wants to play bass. Cool, man. Cool. You know what? I'm trying to encourage my daughter to play bass, my youngest daughter. I think what it is, it's the fingers. They like to grow their nails out, you know? And obviously when you're playing bass, it's kind of hard to play bass if you have long nails. And a lot of the girls are not willing to sacrifice the nails to be able to play bass. And it's unfortunate because it's so much fun. My older daughter, at one point, I got her to take drum lessons, and she took them for a while, and then it was interfering with some other stuff that she was doing, her schedule, and so she let it go. My son, you've seen him on the video before, on some of my videos. He's interested, but he doesn't have the passion and the drive. He's interested in so many other things. So he does have a guitar that I gave him, and I do give him lessons and all that, but he hasn't really gotten the bug yet. And I don't think he will. I mean, if you get the bug, you usually get the bug around 13, 14. I mean, that was my age when I started really enjoying to play music. So I don't know, if you get to 18, 19, I don't know, I think you missed the boat at that point, I think. But it's never too late. I'm giving lessons to some guys that are, 50, even older, and they just want to learn. So it's never too old. You're never too old to learn, I think. Um, what was the Vega Trem again? It was $280. Yeah, the Vega Trem. I don't know the exact number now. It was in my head. It's in euros. That's what messes you up, right? It's in euros. But if you go to the Vega Trem website, you'll see the price there. There's also I think a 10% discount right now that you can take advantage of. So you do save a little bit. The euro thing is a little bit hard because you have to, you have to ship it, and you might get duties on it as well. So they should definitely lower the price on that. You know what I mean? 170, 180, they would kill it. They would kill it. Kevin says, gave my son a Mexican Fender to get him excited when he told me he wanted to learn. I'm using a PV Raptor with mismatch hardware right now. LOL. And what's wrong with that? Nobody laughed at Eddie Van Halen's Frankenstrat, right? It was a cool guitar. Whatever gets you to play, man, it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't. I started piano lessons when I was 7, 61 years ago. I think it is the basis for learning any instrument because all of the notes and theory is laid out graphically in front of you. Exactly, Bruce. That's what I was saying, right? And I think when you actually take music, you go into music as a full-time course in university, I think they force you to take piano. Regardless of the instrument you're learning to play, I think you have to take piano because it's basically the backbone of theory. So it's a beautiful thing. I think I'm going to give I know this is crazy, but I think I'm going to bring my parents. My parents are older, right? They're in their late 80s and they're bored most of the time. I think I'm going to bring my mom. I have a small keyboard here. I'm going to bring it to her so she can putz around with it. My mom's always liked music. She's always been telling me that she always wanted to learn how to play an instrument but never had a chance. So maybe I'll throw that her way. Oh, here comes trouble. Here she is. All right, let me say hello. I have to say hello to this. She doesn't have room to fit in here. You're going to hear her snoring. All right. She brought me a ball. She wants to play. Give me the ball. Let me see. Give it here. Give it. Come on, don't play hard to get. She's a girl. What are you going to do? All right, anyway. Let's get some more questions up here. Quirky Cat is talking to James, and he says, music as a bass player that sometimes plays guitar. I wish your son the best and tell him that bass players are much cooler than their axe-wielding bandmates. Oh boy, here we go. We're going to start now. We're going to start the bass player jokes, the guitar player jokes. I don't know why, just having a bridge just makes me want to bend stuff. Ah, sorry for the sour note, the notes, guys. I like bass players. They're cool guys. Little lazy, but they're cool. Sorry, I just had to say that. I'm just joking. Kush says, I got my first Les Paul from Stan. I don't know who Stan is. Sorry, I'm missing the thread of the conversation here. The 339 I'm looking at has a top wrap strings setting. Do you think it could be possible problem for the table? The table? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Henry. I think what you mean is the strings are top wound. There's nothing wrong with top winding the strings on a bridge. A lot of people like that. The trick is to keep the angle off the bridge. You know, let's say your bridge is here and the strings are coming from your pickups, right? And they're going over your bridge. The angle, the brake angle where it's going down to the the retainer shouldn't be like really extreme like this, because that's going to give you tuning issues because the strings kind of jam up. So you want to keep it a little bit less of a steep angle, and that'll help the strings slide over the bridge saddles and you won't have tuning issues. That's most of the reason why people do that. But if you can raise up the tailpiece, you shouldn't have an issue. It's just preference, you know. The only thing that could happen when you're wrapping the strings that way is that the tailpiece can actually pivot because you're putting pressure on the other side. Sometimes I've seen tailpieces that are kind of lifted up towards the back. But that's if you're using super heavy gauges of strings. Fat Philosopher says, I wish I could find my Kramer Super Strat from the 80s. What do you mean you wish you could find it? Did you sell it? You sold it, didn't you? You got to keep one of those Super Strats, because at the end of the day, you're going to regret it and you can't find them anymore, and then they're going to be more expensive. The other day I was going through my hard drive. I got a lot of stuff on my hard drive. So I have this external hard drive, and I was basically making room because my drive was choking on my laptop. So I wanted to move stuff over, and I came across some old pictures. And I tend to take pictures of all my gear, not just for insurance purposes, but like just over the days that I have the instrument, I'm always taking it and showing people and stuff like that. So I have a lot of photos of some of my old gear, and I got to do a show eventually just to talk about all the stuff that's come and gone. Some of them, you know what? The funny thing is I don't really regret most of the stuff that I sold. There's a couple of things I do regret, but most of the stuff, even today, I can still justify the fact that I sold them. But if there's, you know, in the case of your guitar there, if there's a regret for selling it, it's a hard pill to swallow, because then it's like the girlfriend that got away, you know, and you're like, man, I should have stuck with her. She was great, and then you can't get it back anymore. So maybe you can find another one, but the Super Strats, especially the old ones, they're in demand nowadays. You can always find a modern version of it, but I think they're not the same as the originals. EVH just released the Bumblebee guitar. Costs more than some new cars. It's on Sweetwater. Yeah. You know, I like the look of those 80s guitars. It's nice to have one. But as I said on my channel previously, the thing with those type of guitars is that you're basically then going to be expected to play some crazy Van Halen riffs and play them well if you show up at a gig with a guitar like that. And the price honestly doesn't justify, I can't justify the price, because really it's just a Strat and with a fancy paint job. And now they're charging you an arm and a leg. I don't know, that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. If you want something like that, build it yourself. Honestly, get an old body, Strat body on eBay, get a good neck, put them together. You can build the same thing, paint it the same way for a fraction of the cost, and you can put in exactly what you want and make it your own. You know, that's my opinion, guys. Take it or leave it. I might not know what I'm talking about, but that's how I feel. Fat Philosopher says, my new Sahana, whenever it gets here, will have one splittable humbucker, one volume, no tone. You're still waiting on that, man. It's been a while. It's going to be like Christmas when you get it, Fat Philosopher. I know you're going to be super excited. You're going to be like a kid in a candy store. You know, it's finally here. Make sure you show us when you finally get it. I want to hear how you like it. Guitar Gear Reviews and Demos says, yes, tone controls suck your tone. Go direct with just the volume. Absolutely. A man who knows what he's talking about. Thanks, Fat Philosopher. Thanks for the likes. The volume on this one thing, if you'll hear the volume, right? It's on, let's say I put on 10 and I try to turn it down. The pot on this one is maybe not the best because it really stays on most of the sweep, and then towards the last notch, it kind of cuts out right away. I don't know if you can hear it. You hear that? It kind of doesn't. It stops dying out and just goes pop. Just stops. That's the difference between good pots and pots that are not that great. 50 plus watching and 10 likes. YouTube, a messed up place. Hey Wesley, yeah, YouTube is messed up. I don't know why I do this. Honestly, it's funny, man. You know, it's funny because their algorithms changed, and it's funny because all of my videos, and not just me, everyone, have like taken a dive. They've found a way of just promoting the people that are doing like super well, that people have like millions of views and millions of subscribers, and they're pumping those guys up because, you know, they're popular. They're going to focus on that stuff. And the people like me and people that don't have a million subscribers, we're getting the crumbs. And it sucks because it was more worth my while before. Now it's like, I don't do it for the money. That's like Frank Zappa had once said, I'm not in it for the money. Partridge Family Part 2. Yeah, maybe they should make a show like that. Another modern version of the Partridge Family where everybody's a rock star and they're all strung out on heroin, cocaine, groupies, alcohol. On second thought, that might not be a good idea. Best guitar under 200 bucks? Good question. This one is high up there in my opinion. This is under 200 bucks, man. You know, you might not believe it, but it really is. I don't know what else under 200. There's not a whole lot under 200, man, unless you go used. I would say this one. It's good guitar. I like the Jackson too. The Jackson's about 200 bucks. You've seen it in some of my other videos. With a couple of little upgrades, you can make it really great. And the Van Goya, the one I was playing earlier, the black one that I had there is like 150 bucks on Amazon. They're sold out though. There's none left. But it's a great one if you want to mod it. Depends what you want to use it for. If you want a long-term or just a temporary thing. Stan was a living encyclopedia. I bought several vintage Gibson mandolins and banjos from him over the years. Spent well into the 5 figures there over the years. And then we have another question again. Best electric guitar under $200. So I answered that one. I answered it. So that question's come up over and over again. So I guess you guys are really you really want to have an answer to that question. Under $200. 200 is the magic number. Why 200? Just out of curiosity. Why not 250, 300, 400? And now the euro is kicking the US, so it will be more. It will be more for our friends across the pond. Yep, that's true. They're probably going to make it back in duties. Unless it's content creators, sadly, most just use YouTube as a TV. They just watch and don't like, etc. Sad but true. Yeah, you know what? Interaction with the YouTubers is super important. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I mean, YouTube, part of the YouTube algorithm is not just how many people watch your videos, but it's how many people interact with your videos. So if you like the videos, if you share the videos, that obviously goes a long way in helping the channel survive. If you don't do that, it's kind of like, YouTube figures, it's not that engaging. They want to keep people on YouTube and not go to other platforms. So it's super important that you like the videos, you comment on the videos, and you share them. And believe it or not, even negative comments. It's funny because there's always one or two people that give me a thumbs down on my videos, and I don't know what I did to them, but they're holding a grudge for some reason. And I suspect it's always the same couple of people. However, what they don't realize is that even a thumbs down is actually considered good on YouTube. So I don't know why they're wasting their time giving a thumbs down, but they are. What's really funny is when you have people that take the time to write a negative comment and spend their time, their life, writing negative comments on YouTube. And if it's constructive criticism, it's okay. But sometimes it's just like, hey, you look like Robert De Niro or something like that, or tune your guitar or something like that. I have to laugh. I don't know why people waste their time doing stuff like that, but whatever. It is what it is. I can't stop them. It's a free world. Also, I want to tell you guys, you normally can't post links. A lot of people comment on my videos and send me information, and I really do appreciate it. I can see the links, but other people cannot. If you post a link to something, YouTube won't post your comment. So don't waste your time, unless you want to send it specifically to me, which I'll see. It's just one of the ways, I guess, YouTube uses to protect people from spamming other people, Our house was full of music and instruments, drums too. That's Kim from Kim's Workshop. I couldn't believe that my wife actually let me buy drums at a certain point. I had a couple of different ones. I had a couple of real drum sets, and those things are loud. And I was playing in the house. And then I actually had pity on her, and I decided to go with some electric drums. I swapped a couple of different models of electric drums, and that was better because she would just hear tapping and she wouldn't really hear the drums, and I could play. It was great because I had headphones and I could play the drums through the headphones and play along with the music at all hours of the night, and I wasn't disturbing anyone. So it was super fun for me. I'm glad she let me do that. My wife is a saint, I tell you. Okay, I got a question from Pix Gaming. Is bending a string downward for vibrato or upwards the same thing? Well, typically, my opinion on that is, if you're bending the lower strings, the string over here, it's easier to bend them up because when you're bending them down, you're going to go off the fretboard, and you don't want to do that. I think it's easier to bend them up unless you get to the higher strings or the fatter strings, where you don't want to bend them up. So in my opinion, the first fat strings, the first three, I normally bend down. The other ones I normally bend up. That's how I do it. But I mean, some people might play some other way. Whatever works for you, man. Of course, when you look at people like Albert King and stuff like that, they were playing the guitar upside down and they were bending differently, and that's part of the tone. So whatever works. Um, my son just made me bacon and eggs with fresh coffee. Gosh, man, you got them trained well. My son will make bacon and eggs, but he won't share. Easy on the bacon. So, have any of you been eyeing any other gear? Lately, there's a lot of new stuff coming out that's interesting. I wanted to share with you guys something in case you're looking for a new amp. Last week, I mentioned there was a deal on Sweetwater for strings. This week, I think they still have the deal happening. So, if you guys are looking for an amp, there is a nice deal on a Black Star Studio 10. Small amp. It's the KT88 model. So it's not 6L6 tubes in there. It's not EL34s. It's KT88s. A lot of people like the sound of the KT88s. And there's a $150 rebate right now happening. So that amp, which is a combo amp, is $399 USD. So if you're in the States and you like the Black Star amps, it might be a good time to jump on that and get a $150 rebate. Just check it out on Sweetwater. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't make anything from them. I just wanted to pass on the information. Apparently, it's part of the Amazon Prime deal. That's going to be the Prime days that are going to be happening soon, and they want to pump things up. So Sweetwater is doing a lot to kind of generate people's interest in the website. You know what I mean? I just ordered a Yamaha TRH. That's James saying that. So how do you like it, James? How do you like that Yamaha? I used to have a Yamaha amplifier a long time ago. One of my first amps that I bought, it was solid state. Actually, it was my second amp. The first amp I ever had, my mom bought for me, and that was an EG amp. I don't even think they make them anymore. It was pretty crappy. I think the amp was like, I don't know, $100, $120 or something like that. It was totally solid state, had terrible reverb, couldn't really get a good drive out of it. And I didn't know anything about amps at the time, but I was playing that for a while. Eventually, I wanted to get a Jazz Chorus 120 because a friend of mine that was giving me lessons had one, and I thought it was pretty cool. But I couldn't afford it. The Jazz Chorus was about $600, the 120, and I couldn't afford it. So I ended up getting a Yamaha combo amp, which was kind of like the equivalent of a Jazz Chorus that they had out at the time. It was I forget the number, the model number. It was a Yamaha 212 something or other, and it was totally transistor, and it was okay, but it wasn't a great amp because it was transistor. I didn't know anything about tubes at the time. But Yamaha that makes good stuff. I'm not knocking Yamaha. I mean, even the stuff that they're making today, it's really good quality. You can't go wrong with Yamaha stuff. You know, they don't cut corners. So they haven't really been taken too serious for like guitars and stuff like that, other than the guitar that Santana used to use, which was kind of like a double cut, kind of a Les Paul knockoff. I don't know if you remember. I don't remember the model of that guitar, but some of you might have had it. A friend of mine had a really nice guitar too. That was one of the ones that they got the most traction with, I think. Um, um, some say, no, sorry for the vague reply. Personally, feel that you have to have the guitar in your hands and see yourself. Okay, I guess we're talking about buying stuff sight unseen here. My two bosses own the biggest UK music reseller in November and just bought a guitar company this month. Wow. So can you tell us who that is, James? They bought a guitar company? Wow. And where is this guitar company located that they bought it? It's probably in China, isn't it? The new Bad Cat amps are killer for the price. So what makes the new ones different than the old ones? I've looked at Bad Cat amps in the past, and I think they're also making them overseas now, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me on that, Paul, if I'm wrong. Um, I gotta check some of the new ones. I haven't been keeping up with Bad Cat. Fat Philosopher says Pix Gaming tone wood is a myth. Doesn't matter. Wood is just for the looks or the weight. Stainless steel frets would last almost forever. Nickel frets will have to be taken out after a few years. I think woods is really just a preference in terms of what you like to see on the guitar. In terms of, if you prefer rosewood necks, maple necks. Some say that there is a little bit of difference, and rosewood seems to be a little bit warmer. You know, again, even if there is a difference, it's probably so subtle that it wouldn't make a huge difference at the end of the day once you factor in your signal chain, your amplifier, your speaker system, the way you record it with a mic, and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, just buy what you like. Don't worry so much about the tone woods. Here in Canada, there are these great amps called Garnet. Now, I'm in Canada, Jenny, and I don't know about Garnet. Maybe I should. Tell me a little more. I gotta go for a bicycle ride. Take care, guys. Ciao, Tony. Hey, Jonathan, I didn't even see you in there. I know you've been riding a lot. You've been posting on Facebook that you're riding. That's great, man. Keep in shape. Don't forget to wear your helmet. I appreciate you tuning in. Man, I'm probably missing other people here. The chats are going by so fast that I don't really see everyone here. I apologize if I missed you for that. Um, yeah, the Yamaha SG 2000. That's the one. That's the one. Thank you for that. Sasha, you came up with the right answer. You get the prize. That's the guitar I was talking about. So Santana was playing that guitar way back when, before I guess he switched over to PRS and all that kind of stuff. Nice looking guitar. Heavy though. And they've gone up in price. If you have an old one, they're very collectible now. Pix Gaming says the question was, does wood matter when it comes to guitar tone, and do stainless steel frets change tone too? Yes, the stainless steel frets do change the tone. They're a little bit pingy. Some people don't like it. I noticed it. I have two guitars with stainless steel frets, and I can tell you that the stainless steel frets have a little pingy sound to it. It's like a little bit more bright, and it doesn't sound the same way. It could be a little annoying at times, but a lot of people do like them because they last so long, and that's the great advantage of stainless steel. You don't have to change them. But to be honest with you, if you have more than one guitar, let's say you have a few, and you're doing round robin with them, and you're playing a couple every day, by the time you're going to wear out the frets, you probably won't ever wear out the frets. Honestly, I've been playing since I've been 13, and I never had to have my frets changed, because if you have more than one guitar, you're spreading out the playing time on more than one guitar. Don't worry about it, unless you're playing every single day, 6 hours a day, like heavy duty playing. Where you're like a professional musician, yeah, you probably will have to change them. But for everyone else, don't worry about it. Good question here. Gospel of Mark, what multi-effect would you recommend for acoustic gigs? Good question. Do you mean a multi-effects that simulates acoustic guitar, or do you mean a multi-effects that will enhance an acoustic guitar that you're plugging into it? So just clarify that, and I'll give you my answer. Uh, See, Jack says, I don't like the sound I get from stainless steel frets. So you see there's definitely a difference. A harder wood is easier to mod. A harder wood is easier to mod. Do you mean that using a guitar that have harder wood bodies is easier to mod because you don't strip out the screws, or I'm not quite sure why you're saying that. Um, so Fat Philosopher says, I have only one guitar with stainless steel. I can't hear a tonal difference, but I'm no expert. There's definitely a difference. Trust me on that, Fat Philosopher. Take your guitar, bring it to a guitar center and play a regular frets. I'm sure you're going to hear the difference. Do it unplugged. You don't hear it as much when it's plugged in, but unplugged, you definitely will hear it. Eventide and Strymon have new reverb pedals. That's true, Randy. I just read about the new Strymon one. I just wish that you didn't have to sell 2 kidneys to get them. I'd love to have a Strymon pedal. They're really great. And I like the technology that they use. They merge like regular analog circuitry with digital circuitry to do a lot of great sounds. They're worth the money though. The resale value on those things are usually quite high. The resale value stays high on them. It's kind of like Apple products, you know? They're kind of high and they always stay high even after you sell them. So you pay a little bit more up front, but you don't lose as much when you sell them. I'm from Montreal, but garnets were made in Manitoba. Well, I'm in Montreal too, Jenny. So nice to see you in the house. I don't know if I've ever heard of garnets. I gotta check them out. I really do. What do they sound like? Do they sound like Marshalls, Fenders? Do they do their own thing? I want a new tube amp, but I see the new tech in the Rev 20. I want to see more like this. Where can I go straight out to monitors? Where I can go straight out to monitors. Okay, I see what you mean. I see the new tech in the Rev 20. A lot of people want to do that. A lot of people want to go into, like, instead of spending their money on a really expensive amplifier, they want to get a tube or a tube head or something that has hybrid technology in it where they're able to go into monitors directly and sort of emulate with IRs, impulse responses and stuff like that. I think that's where the technology is actually going these days. I think we're going to be seeing more of that type of thing where you can actually have a combination of either a tube and transistor system where you can mute the speaker at some point. And so if you want to go into recording gear, you can do that in any hour of the day or night and not have to worry about cranking up the amplifier to get the sound that you want. I think that's where things are going. I think that's what we're going to end up seeing pretty soon. The problem is, and I had this conversation with my friend Tim Lewis from TL Pedals just the other day, is that it seems like musicians want new stuff, but as soon as the new stuff comes out, they're like, yeah, but it's not like the vintage stuff. So it's like they want new stuff, but they want to do basically the same stuff that they were doing before. So it's kind of like a catch-22, you know? They want new stuff, but keep it the same. And I think the reason for that is because a lot of musicians are basing their reference on classic rock, right? If you grew up with Van Halen, then that's the sound. That's the sound that a guitar and amp should be. If you grew up with Led Zeppelin, same thing. The Jimmy Page tone, that's what a guitar should be. So you're aiming for something that's retro or classic. So when somebody brings in a new amp or new effects or something like that, and it sounds different from what it was before, then you're like, yeah, it's cool, but it doesn't sound like Jimmy Page, or it doesn't sound like Eddie Van Halen. So it can't be good. You know what I mean? Because people want to hear you sound like that. That's the tone. So it's kind of weird. We're struggling to move forward, but at the same time, we have our feet firmly planted in the past. uh, what can you do? Jumbo frets allow you to have a higher action and can be easier to play. Yes, they can. Um, Personally, my over $1,000 guitars sound better than my under $1,000 guitars. That could be true, but it's not always the case. It's not always the case. I can vouch for that. Generally, I would say yes, that's true, but not always. Yeah, the Rev 20 has a built-in 2 notes cab sim. That's the cool thing about the Rev 20. I'm gonna try to see if I can get one of those amps for a review eventually or something like that, because that seems like a really nice feature to have, to be able to go into a cab simulation, especially if you want to do like YouTube videos and stuff like that. I'll see if I can get my hands on one for you guys. Most Strymon pedals use 10-year-old chips that are 2 generations old. Okay. The cool thing, though, is how they use those old chips, right? I mean, I don't really care how old the chips are as long as they sound good. You know, look at the Tube Screamer. The Tube Screamer circuit, everybody raved about the chip in the Tube Screamer, and it had to be that specific chip. And it's not necessarily the best chip. There's way better chips than that, but people are sold on the fact that if it doesn't have that chip, then you're not getting the authentic sound. Pix Gaming says, do you own any cheap guitars that sound as good or even better than an expensive guitar? Yes, of course. I mean, cheap. It depends how cheap you're talking about. I think what it boils down to is that it depends on how the companies cut corners to keep costs low. Often, when you're dealing with cheap guitars, the hardware, the electronics specifically, are where they cut corners. Because a body is a body. You have to put frets on it, on a neck. You have to have wood for the neck and for the body. You can put cheaper type woods in it as well. But as we said before, the wood is not necessarily where you're going to get most of the sound characteristics from. Most of the time, it's going to be the bridge, the pickup, a good nut, tuners, obviously, if you want to stay in tune. But I mean, tuners are going to have less impact on your tone beyond tuning. So really, it happens down here. It's the bridge, and the pickup, and the controls that you have in your guitar. So if you have a good quality cheap guitar with that they haven't ruined the guitar by putting in garbage pickups and bridges in it, it could still sound really good. It might not play as good as a more expensive guitar, because more expensive guitars typically they spend more time setting up the guitar. So they take more attention in the fretwork, they take more attention to make sure you don't have any fret bites. You know, overall the alignment is good, the pocket is tight, and everything is nice. That's the difference. But in terms of sound, I think it's going to be hard, very hard, if you have a good quality and expensive guitar and a more expensive guitar and you play them side by side. And I've done comparisons for you guys on this, many of them actually. A lot of people end up choosing the less expensive guitar. And when it comes down to strictly sound, there's a lot at play other than just the cost. Sometimes the cost is a more expensive guitar is just more expensive because it's not being made overseas. It might be made in the US. It might be made, in other places where the cost of labor is very expensive. If you buy a guitar that comes from places where the cost of labor is cheap and they're doing a very careful job of putting the guitar together, it could sound and play just as good. I stand by that. I don't care what you guys say. I'm open to comments, guys. I just want to make it clear to everybody that, don't just buy into the price tag thing. Like you're seeing that happening with people like PRS guitars, Gibson guitars, Fender too, the big names. They're trying to sell you more and more expensive guitars, and you're looking at the prices jump sometimes $1,000 more than a lower end version. And at the end, you look at it, there's not a whole lot of difference. There's not a whole lot of difference. So people are buying into this guitar is more expensive, thus it must be better hype, and it's not necessarily true. Hey Tony, Stan ran a high-end music store in Staten Island. I see what you're saying there. I want a good set of mini humbuckers. Any recommendations? I haven't played around with mini humbuckers too much. 5150. Sorry, man. I would say contact Matt from Monty's Guitars. By the way, I had a nice conversation with Matt the other day as well. Super guy. And that's going to be also posted soon. The guy is really good at what he does. He really does build super quality pickups, and he knows what he's doing. If you have any questions, reach out to Matt at Monty's Guitars. He's in London, but he's a super nice guy. He'll answer your questions. Cheap guitars are full of Chinese pop metal that will break down eventually. Yeah, but at the end of the day, there's nothing that can't be fixed. You know what I mean? Sure. Yeah, you know that you're not going to get a good quality bridge made of brass from a Chinese guitar. It's rare. We know that. But if you're getting it at a good deal and it lasts a while, if it breaks, upgrade. It gives you a perfect opportunity to upgrade. I loved my old I'm missing here. I love my old Kramer, but now Kramer is owned and serviced by Gibson, and I do not like the product service Gibson gives. Amen to that. Amen to that. Tony, I have a Jackson Dinky. I'm thinking about putting a set of Seymour Duncan hot rods, which is the Jazz 60 in the neck and the JB in the bridge. Okay. It's a nice combination. A lot of people like it, like that combination. I like the JB. That's what I have in here, the JB. The Jazz sometimes is a little bit too soft for people that are looking at playing a little bit more heavier type music. So listen to some reviews on the JB and Jazz 60 combo. A lot of people tend to like the JB and don't necessarily like the Jazz 60 too much, so it depends on what you're going to be playing, Jack. That's just my warning to you. Just check it out before you actually jump right in. An expensive guitar can accidentally be bad. A cheap guitar can accidentally be good. Absolutely. How many times have you guys heard that, you look at the Gibson guitars and stuff, and, some of them are supposed to be fantastic and some of them not so good. And it's made in the same company, made by the same people, right? As long as everything is fully functioning and set up properly, any guitar can sound good. I agree. 150, 160% with you. Most of the time, a crappy guitar could be made great if you know how to set it up. And that's where I keep underlining that message over and over again with you guys. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. A lot of times there's no setup on these cheap guitars. And unfortunately, that's why a lot of people that are buying cheap guitars, they're buying them because it could be their first guitar. They don't know any better. They don't know much about guitar maintenance and setup. And what ends up happening is they buy a cheap guitar and then they regret it because it sounds and plays not very well. If you know what you're doing, if you know how to do a good setup, how to do a good fret leveling, how to change pickups and put in better hardware, save yourself a ton of money. Grab a less expensive guitar, set it up the way you like it. Put the height of the strings the way you like it in the sweet spot. Make sure the guitar neck has a properly adjusted radius, not a radius, but the curve of the truss rod. Make sure it's in the sweet spot. Make sure the pickups are the right height. And you're going to have a great playing guitar. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. That $150 guitar I was playing at the beginning is a lot of fun. It's right there. I mean, 150 bucks. I love playing it. I changed the pickups. I did a fret level on it. Not that it really needed one, but it plays so well. I know the bridge is not going to be good. I agree. It's made of pot metal, totally. And eventually I'll probably chuck out the bridge and put something else in it. But for now, it's fun to play. Fat Philosopher says they're trying to sell all these relics these days. Yeah, a lot of people don't like the relics. I talked about that in my previous show. I tend to like relics, but again, I don't want to get into that discussion because a lot of people are very, very sensitive about relic guitars. And when I say relics, I'm talking about good quality relics, like realistic looking relics, not just stuff that have been belt sanded and thrown down the stairs a few times. I think a lot of the resentment comes from the fact that the relics are being sold at a very high price point. And I think the reason why I like mine is because I didn't pay that much money for them. I would not necessarily want to go buy a custom shop Strat. They look good, but I don't want to spend that kind of money on a custom shop Strat. I'd rather build my own. If I want to have something that plays like that and looks like that, I can build that. I know how. So I want to spend $6,000 on a custom shop Strat. I've seen some at $6,000, guys. I wouldn't buy any guitar for that price unless it really was a rare vintage guitar that I really wanted to get and I've been saving my whole life for. And it's just one of those things on my bucket list. That's a whole different story. But for a run-of-the-mill current production guitar, no way, man. Not for me. Find another sucker. Tony, been looking into changing tuners on an Epi SG special. Okay, Michael, so why do you want to change them? They're just not holding tune for you? Before you go crazy and spend a lot of money on changing the tuners, make sure that the issue is not the nut. Because oftentimes on a 3-3 headstock, when I say 3-3, I mean 3 tuners on one side, 3 tuners on the other side. What ends up happening is that the bridge is not cut at the bridge. The nut. Oh, somebody loves me here. Let me turn this off here. The nut is not cut properly and the strings will split this way, right? So when the strings go over the nut, there's a tendency to snag because they're going through the nut and bending at an angle like this. Whenever there's a bend, it causes resistance. And that's what usually causes the strings to go out of tune. So what you can do before you spend money on tuners, because I have a feeling those tuners are pretty good. The nut, have somebody that knows what they're doing. Take a look at the nut. Make sure that the nut slots are not too narrow, that they're cut well, and they'll know what to do. And lubricate your nut. It sounds perverted, but lubricate the nut with either graphite or you can they have nut sauce, which is a lubricant that you can use. And I guarantee you after your strings are stretched out and stuff that it will not go out of tune as much as what you're thinking it's doing right now. The other thing is if it's persistent and you want to change the tuners, there's a whole bunch of tuners that are good out there. You might want to go for a locking set, but honestly, before you do that, check out the nut situation. Most of the time, it's the nut. All right, so I might have just saved you some money there. Um, my best bud taught me how to set up guitars. Best gift he ever gave me. You know what? There's a lot of videos online. I've done some of those videos as well. If ever you want to look at some of those, go back into my archive. You'll see me doing basic stuff. You don't need crazy tools most of the time. You just need a bit of knowledge, and every step that you take will help you enjoy your guitar even more. There's also some places online that give courses and that kind of stuff. Actually, if you're in London, Monty's Guitars. He mentioned to me that he's also doing courses in guitar maintenance that he gives. So if you're in that area, check him out. You might be able to spend a little bit of money, but learn how to do it for yourself. My pleasure, Michael. My pleasure. I recently bought a $180 ESP LP in a pawn shop. I bought it because the owner sets up all his guitars. It was perfect action. Yeah, man. You know what? A lot of times I go into my local guitar shop and the guitars on the wall are not set up properly. It drives me mental. I almost want to like start tuning all their guitars. You see the action, like, almost a half inch above the fretboard. The guitars are out of tune. Sometimes there's broken strings and stuff and missing knobs. And I don't know how they can sell guitars like that. Somebody that goes into a guitar center that doesn't know what the hell they're looking at because it's the first guitar that they're looking at buying, or maybe they don't have that much experience. They're never going to spend that kind of money you're asking for if your guitars don't play properly. Get somebody to set up your guitars. I would have somebody in the shop just doing that all day long. Just start from that end, go all the way to the other side and start over, and make sure that they're always set up properly, because that's what sells guitars, man. It's simple. Multi-effects for an acoustic guitar for acoustic duo gigs. Okay, well, if you're plugging in a multi-effects unit into an acoustic guitar into a multi-effects unit, typically I assume what you're looking for is something that has good modulation, maybe good reverbs, maybe have a compressor in there, possibly like a chorus, that kind of thing. A lot of the kits that are being sold today, a lot of the multi-effects that are being sold today do that pretty well. Like, to be honest with you, without spending a fortune, try out the NUX, the MG300 that I have right here. Honestly, it's cheap. It's like 150 bucks, 180 bucks, something around that price. There's really good sounds in there. And the clean sounds are good as well. It doesn't have a million and one effects. It doesn't have, like, some of them it's overkill and you have effects that you're never going to use. But honestly, if you're looking for a nice, chorus effect, reverb, a few modulation effects and stuff, you don't need much for acoustic guitars, because otherwise it's overkill. It's a great little unit, and it's portable, it's small, and even has the expression pedal on it. You can use it for volume. You could use that as a wah, not that you're going to be using a wah for your acoustic guitar. But it sounds good, honestly, and it's cheap. You can go full Monty and go with the really expensive stuff, but honestly, sometimes you don't have to. I'm loving this one. I've been playing this one nonstop, and I'm still using the editor to tweak the sounds. And this going into my FR speaker, I'm ready for the next gig. I just wish they had more places for patches, because patches, there's not that many, and I'd be making a lot more because they sound really good. Cranar, he says, saving up for a Tokai. ES87, do you have any experience with these Chinese guys? Yeah, the Chinese one, yes. Is 800 euros a good price for it? Might ask this question, might have asked this question last time, but I don't remember. Okay, so there's always Tokai questions that come up. Do I have my Tokai here? No, I don't. Okay, I would show you my Tokai. I don't have it here in the rack, unfortunately, but I always say Tokais are great guitars. You have to be careful with the Chinese ones. The Chinese ones are not like the Japanese ones. If they're asking 800 euros for a Chinese one, that's too much. I wouldn't spend $800 on a Chinese Tokai. Chinese Tokai, you're looking at 500 bucks. Okay? If it's a Japanese Tokai and you can get it for 800 bucks, that's a good deal. I would go for the Japanese one. Overall, the build quality in those guitars is very good. Japanese ones are fantastic. The Chinese ones are kind of equivalent to what you're getting with maybe a little less, maybe not as good, but close to what you're getting as the Epiphones. So, if you're spending that kind of money, you're probably better off getting a used Epiphone for like less money if it's a Chinese Tokai. So grab a Japanese if you can, okay? That's my opinion on that. I hope that answers your questions. What am I missing? Best Tokais are from Japan. Yep, Henry. I agree, man. I got two of them. I got lucky enough to grab two Tokais that were being sold locally and well under what I should have paid for them. I think the crowning and polishing of the frets drive up the price. I think on a new guitar they try to skimp on that. I agree. The quality is important, and what makes a great guitar great is the attention to detail. That costs a lot of money because you got to spend time to do that. There's no real way of doing that with a machine. So yeah, there's plecking and all that kind of stuff, but it still has to be touched by a human. Tony, you should get Nick from the States back on the show to show the $150 Bad Cat SH330. Also get Tim from LT Pedals on. He is our kind of guy. Killer pedals at bargain prices. So Paul, I'm glad you brought that up. So Tim and I had a conversation just yesterday. So I recorded that conversation. That's going to be posted early next week. So you can tune in for that. It was a great chat we had talking about his pedals and the industry and all that kind of stuff. I think you're going to like it. Nick in the States has been super busy, and I'd love to have him back on the show. If he wants to come back on, he's more than welcome. Nick's a great guy. And yeah, I saw the Bad Cats that he's reviewing, the semi-hollow ones. I actually was in touch with the people from Bad Cat. The thing is, they don't want to ship to Canada. So I was going to have them send me one of those guitars for review. And they don't want to do it. So, their loss. If they want to do it, I'm here. The thing with those Bad Cat semi-hollows, they look nice. I wish they would have chosen better colors. The colors are really not that great. They have like fire engine red and some other colors, but they need to choose some nicer colors. The concept is good. It's nice. I don't know how well they sound being hollow body, but maybe eventually I'll get one. I don't know. We'll see. Good morning from sunny Arizona. Rico B, nice to see you here, man. I'd love to live in Arizona. Way better than here. What's the temperature there, Rico? Are you still Are you still cracking 100? What's going on there? When I say 100, I mean Celsius, not Fahrenheit. Another great Japanese guitar in the LP vein, similar to Tokyo's, are Greco. Yeah, Greco are good too. Good reputation as well. There's also the Bacchus line. Bacchus make good guitars as well. They also have Japanese and Chinese. I have a Chinese one, and it's actually pretty good. So I'd be surprised if the Japanese ones are not better. Kiku guitar with 250 euros more. You can get a brand new Tokai LS 128 made in Japan at JM Music in France. It's funny because you can still get a lot of these Tokais, the Japanese ones, in Europe, but they're hard to get here, and you don't really see them for great prices. If you can find one, especially if you can find one used, grab it. There's another one for sale locally that I've seen, and I think the guy wanted $800 for it. But it's very similar to the one I already have, so I don't want to spend another $800. But I was tempted. I was tempted because they're great guitars. Just ordered the Nuix MG300 modeling guitar processor. All right, Richard. Good video. Just saying, it costs about the same as a pedal or two. That's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to get across. You know, you're looking at a pedal, a unit that costs about the price of a decent pedal, and you have a whole lot more in there, right? You have a lot of stuff happening in that. So yeah, it's not the most solid thing. I mean, it's a plastic enclosure, but if you take care of it, it should be fine. And I recommend it. I like it. I'm not just saying that. I was helping Arnold play guitar, get a birthday year Tokai. Good condition 1983 Japanese Tokai, sold for $1,000. That's not bad. I mean, that's generally the price that they're going for. Jonathan too. Yeah, I'd love to have Jonathan back on the show. There's a few other people that I'm going to get on the show for you guys. So Tim Lewis, definitely you're gonna see that next week. Matt Gleason, you're gonna see that probably coming up shortly as well. And Adam Reaver from FU Tone wanted to come on the show, and I'd love to have him on the show as well if he's available. Who else? A few other people. I'll keep them for a surprise, but you'll see. There's going to be a few other people on the show coming up, and I think that's going to be fun for you guys. I agree, but that's theoretically one of the reasons why Gibson costs 4 times as much as Epi and PRS. The Core costs 4 times as much as the SEs. I don't know if you guys saw this, but PRS just announced these really cool guitars, and they're limited edition. They're only being sold at Sweetwater, and they're the PRS. What do they call them? Night Owls, I believe. They're beautiful. Oh man, they're beautiful. I was looking at some of the stuff on that guitar, and it was like guitar porn. I'm telling you. I'm scared to see how much they're going to cost, but they're really, really nice. Here, do I still have? I'm going to share my screen here, okay? Just give me a second. Let's see if I can do this with you. Okay. Will it work? All right. So, can you see this? I hope you can. So PRS, let me just clear out some of these so I can. All right, so PRS, whoop, here we go. Are you guys following this? I hope you are. Okay, so PRS has announced these really, really great looking, what's going on here? Did I just, no, we're still live. Okay, why can't you see my screen? Current application. Can you guys see this? I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Anyways, there's these beautiful here. I think I'm doing something wrong, guys. Sorry, wait. Let me just go back to my cam. I don't see the camera on here. I wanted to share the screen with you guys. Okay, maybe it was just a glitch. Let me try that again. So, all right. Sorry, guys. Okay, so this is the Night Owl by PRS, okay? Oh boy. I'm clicking on all kinds of stuff here. Give me a second, guys. Sorry about that. I didn't want to do that. Let me just quit this. Okay. The reason I'm having trouble here is because I don't have my mouse set up and I'm doing this with the trackpad and it's a little bit of a pain. Sorry about that. Okay. So now here is this new PRS guitar that they've come out with. It's called the limited edition Owls in Flight range. Check out the headstock on this thing. Look at this. Look how beautiful it is. So they have an owl, natural wood with the mother of pearl inlays on there. They have these beautiful colors. Look at this. Oops, sorry, man. Too many things at once here. Check this out. I mean, they're just beautiful. Look at the way the neck is carved with the inlays and everything. Beautiful, beautiful. And they have a couple of really beautiful colors. Oh man, it's so nice. Look at this one. Look at this color. This is beautiful. Private stock McCarty single cut 594 fuchsia smoked burst Owls in Flight. I mean, that is a beautiful, beautiful color. I'm like, I would love to have a guitar that color. And the single cut for me is really, really nice. Beautiful guitar. Anyway, just to say, I'm scared to know how much these things are gonna cost. I could just imagine what the cost is gonna be on those things. And since it's a limited run, it's like, wow, these guys are gonna be laughing all the way to the bank with those. But they're way better than the Tony the Tiger version, wouldn't you say? If you guys remembered last week, I showed you the tiger carved into the PRS guitar. I felt bad because I think whoever worked on that guitar probably got egg on his face because it was so like cheesy looking. But those guitars are like, oh my, oh my, oh mama. Yeah, beautiful price too. I could just imagine how much those are going to cost. I'm curious. Yeah, is it only 15,000? Oh man, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, look, at the end of the day, they're doing it for advertising purposes, marketing purposes. It's just another way to get them out there. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they're making money with these guitars, but at the end of the day, it's more bragging rights, right? To be able to say you make the best guitars or the most beautiful guitars out there. To me, those PRSs are like furniture. The thing is, if you're spending 15,000 bucks on one of those things, it would never leave the house. I would put on like velvet gloves. I would put like my velvet jumpsuit so I wouldn't scratch it. I would be terrified to take it out of the case. Never mind take it out for a gig, you know? So Yeah, but the colors are great. I think most of those PRSs sell on color alone. I really want an E2 single cut, but you cannot see them here. Why don't you see them? The rare, I guess. Well, maybe one day, guys. Maybe one day we'll be able to all afford whatever we want. You know, it could happen. I just read the other day there was some lucky devil that won the lottery twice. Twice. Yes, Getty Lee on the channel. He's got nothing better to do. What are you talking about, Getty Lee? Along with the PRS Sweetwater, they also released a bunch of other expensive custom guitars under the banner of guitars that cost more than a car. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. If I show up with that guitar at home, divorce time. Anyway, a beautiful guitar push you to play like a beautiful woman push you to what? Henry? PRS first super high end, I think, was the Dragon. Yeah, I know the Dragon. Yeah, that was the first one. Check it out. Enough inlays for 30 guitars. Beautiful guitar, however. Geddy Lee lives near you. Really? I once waited 3 years for a Fender custom shop and rejected it. Alan, what the hell? What was wrong with it? What was wrong with the custom shop? I got to hear this story. That's got to hurt, man. You're waiting 3 years for a guitar and then it finally shows up. Did you reject it because you ran out of funds at that time or you second guessed yourself? I often get buyer's remorse whenever I buy something. I'm always like, I buy it mostly when I buy something new, which doesn't happen all the time. I buy something and I'm like, yeah, should I maybe not have spent that money? Maybe slept on it a little bit more. Um, that's my advice to everyone is sleep on it. If you're not sure that you really want something, sleep on it. It's always the best thing to do. I love the harmonics. I have that same Kramer, great guitar, added a Super V Blade Runner bridge. So what's the Super V? Is that similar to the the Vega Trem? I'm looking for other bridges that are not going to be as expensive. But I mean, and like I said at the beginning, I think the Vega Trem messed me up now because I'm gonna really like to have this Vega Trem on all my guitars. Oh man, I gotta talk to the guys at Vega Trem. Andrew, you messed me up, Andrew. Can you show how a pinch harmonic works? Yeah, sure. So pinch harmonic, the key with the pinch harmonic is you have to have drive. You have to have enough drive. And the pinch harmonic is all in the thumb. You basically want to have a little bit of a gap between the pick angle and the thumb so that the pick, so you pluck with the pick and then the edge of your thumb hits the string to create the harmonic. And depending on where you are in the over here, you might get more harmonics or less harmonics. So basically, can you hear that? The squeals, right? So that's how it works. Very similar to Vega. What's the price on them? If they're similar to Vega and they're less expensive, I gotta check them out. Vega are in Spain. Yeah, exactly. That's right, Corky Cat. Black guitar, black shirt, black jeans. Just call me. Cheaper than Vega 2, around $180. That's the sweet spot, I'm going to think, for a good bridge. And is this floating as well? Like you can do dive bombs and pull up? Can you go both ways? I got to check them out. Yeah, the Vega is not inexpensive. It's probably, it's in euro, so you have to convert it. I don't know what it is in US because I'm thinking Canadian, but I think it's about a 200 and I'm gonna say $280, 80 euros. I don't know what that is in American. Sorry, you have to do the conversion. Yeah, just call me Johnny, Johnny Cash. Everything black. A boy named Sue. If you guys have watched the Johnny Cash documentary, it's pretty cool. That guy lived a heck of a life, let me tell you, man. Talk about drugs. And Johnny was, yeah, he was into quite a few different things there. For the time he was living in, he was definitely ahead of his time with the drugs. Why nobody builds 24 fret acoustic resonators? Would buy one like a stick, a gem neck into a national metal body. Why not? I don't know how many people are into the resonators. 24 fret resonator. There must be somebody making something like that. Yes, fully floating. Oh, I'm gonna check them out. I'll have to do a comparison between the Vega Trem and them. Maybe we'll see what happens. We'll do a shootout. That would be cool. I'm sure you can pull up on a Super V. Super Vs are running over 200 bucks here in Japan. I'm gonna check them out. Henry, take it easy, man. Have a great and safe Sunday to all you and your family. See you next week. Thank you for tuning in, Henry. Thank you for celebrating our 40th video here. All right. So guys, listen, I've been yapping for how long now? 2 hours. 2 hours on the nose. You guys make it so much fun. I can't stop. I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. You know, Sundays for me is the bomb. I don't want to get demonetized. You know where I was going with that riff. Why do people say there's a difference between a Stratocaster and a Telecaster? Is it true? Famer7, yes. I'll answer that question. There's a huge difference between a Stratocaster and a Telecaster. If you don't know the difference, grab one in your local store, play one and play the other. They will probably not feel too different when you're playing them unplugged, but when you're playing them plugged, there's a big difference in the tones that you're going to be getting from a Strat and a Telecaster. Telecasters are usually more bitey, a little bit more high frequencies. Telecasters have the ability to go through more than one pickup, so you have the in-between sounds of the neck, middle, and bridge pickup that you can, and usually sounds a little bit more mellow. To me, Telecasters are pretty much between a Strat and a Les Paul. That's where the Telecaster fits in for me. Strats are usually a bit more spanky sounding. Telecasters are a little bit more bitey sounding. Of course, it all depends on what kind of pickups you have and what kind of style of music you play. But yeah, there's a big difference. I love Telecasters. I love Strats too, but I've been gravitating a little bit more towards Telecasters lately. But I like to switch and, play a Strat style guitar too sometimes. And also, one of the aspects you have to remember is that Strats feel better. The bodies are curved nicely. They fit right here. They have the tummy tuck and the armrest, where Telecasters usually is like a plank of wood. And, they're not as comfortable to play, but they're great instruments. And you can't go wrong with a Telecaster. You definitely need one of each, my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm just going to take a couple more questions. Then I got to go. Gotta go, guys. I don't want to go, but I got to go. There's housework waiting for me. Like I said, I don't want to get divorced. Yeah, the other aspect is a bridge pickup. The bridge pickup on a Telecaster, especially if you're going with a vintage style Telecaster and you have the 3 saddle bridges, there's less. You have less flexibility in the adjustment of the saddles in terms of independent adjustment for when you're setting up the intonation. So there's that as well, right? And of course, you don't have the whammy bar on a Telecaster. And also the Telecaster is normally string through body, where the Stratocaster usually is top loaded. Well, not top loaded, but you know what I mean. It just goes into the bridge, where the other one, the Telecaster, goes straight through the wood. So you tend to have a difference there as well. Hey, Tony, swap out your watch. The Omega is better. Yeah, just like I like guitars, I like watches. I kind of collect watches. Not really, but I like different watches. I like pens. And really nice pens, and I like guitars, so I'm addicted to quite a few things actually. Jimmy Page backup on tour was a brown Tele. Yeah, a lot of Jimmy Page's early guitars were Telecasters. A lot of people don't know that. Recommendations for a good rap tail for a Les Paul Jr. You know what? I like the rap tails that you get on the let me go get it. I'm at a loss for words today. On the PRS guitar. Let me grab that. but then I gotta go. These. I think Wilkinson makes a set of these. I don't think these are Wilkinson's, but Wilkinson does make a set. I like these because you basically have the ability to intonate, because there are individual saddles there, and it's really nice and bulky and feels super solid. So that's another great piece of guitar gear. I haven't played this guitar in a while, so it's probably out of tune. I don't know if it would fit your guitar, but if you can get one similar to this one, a lot of companies make them now. I would go for something like that. Yeah, the guitar was about a semitone, half a tone off. I haven't played this guitar in a long time. Ooh, that was a hard. I bent a little too sharp on that one. This guitar has a set of Sanford Magnetics in it, V68s, low output pickups. They sound great. If you guys are in Canada and you want to buy some cool pickups, get some Sanford Magnetics. I like the George Lynch mod on guitars, no toggle switches, all push-pull operated. Yeah, the push-pulls are okay, except sometimes it depends on the type of knobs you have. You need grippy knobs, because I find on my Gibsons it's a push-pull system, but they have the top hat knobs and they're slippery. So when you're playing and your hands are like a little bit sweaty, they're not easy. I have to like grab with my finger underneath the knob to pull it up. These knobs have a little bit of a rubber gasket around them, so they're grippy, but there's no push-pull on this guitar. I don't know if this bridge is Wilkinson. I think Wilkinson makes one like this, but I don't know if this is actually a Wilkinson bridge. But you can probably find these on eBay. There's a lot of people that sell replacement bridges specifically for these PRS guitars. Don't buy a real PRS one because it's going to cost you a fortune. There's like knockoffs you can get. Only complaint about PRS guitars is that for the price you get no locking tuners. You have to pay 87 euros for them. I'm referring to the high-end SE models. Yeah, but you know what? These tuners are like standard, the regular type old-fashioned tulips tuners, and I love them. I wouldn't necessarily need to put locking tuners on this guitar. The thing about PRS guitars here, let me show you something. The reason why you don't need locking tuners, unlike Gibson, the strings on PRS guitars go straight. See, they don't deviate. They don't spread out as much as the Gibsons do. So that in itself, with a good quality nut cut right, will not give you tuning problems. So you don't really need locking tuners. Oh, fudge. Okay, a couple more questions, then I gotta go, guys. What do we have here? Graphtec Rezo Max NW2 is 127, but looks nice. I don't know that one. I gotta take a look. The funny thing is, my US made PRS guitar, has a bridge like this, but there's no option for the independent saddles, and that one costs more. And I guess they didn't figure they needed it. But eventually, I might actually put one of these on that guitar. I like the Dean VMNT. It's a guitar that doubles as a slicing weapon for its upcoming zombie apocalypse. I think both locking tuners and locking straps have serious drawbacks. Yeah, me too. A lot of people think that with locking tuners, you're going to get better tuning stability, which is not the case. Locking tuners, all that is going to save you the time so you don't have to wrap the strings around. Whether or not you're going to go out of tune, you're probably still going to go out of tune. So it doesn't really make a difference. But a lot of people think locking tuners are like a locking nut. It doesn't work that way. I'm just noodling here, guys. Okay, guys, I gotta run. Sorry, man. I really do appreciate everybody that stuck around for the entire 2 hours. It was a pleasure talking to everyone today, but I really gotta get some stuff done today, or else my wife is gonna. And I want to come back next Sunday, so I don't want that to happen. All right, guys. Have a great Sunday. Thank you for tuning in for the 40th. If you guys have comments along the way that I wasn't able to answer, I'm sorry. There was a lot of comments going past today. Put your comments down. Once this video goes live on YouTube, you can watch it again. And if you have any questions or specific questions you want to ask me about anything, post it there. I'll answer your questions. I'm also going to do a video coming up where I'm going to actually take some time to go over some of the questions that I've been getting inundated with on the channel. So I'll just take a couple of minutes and go through a couple of questions. Maybe I'll make that a regular thing, because I just feel bad that there's a lot of questions that I don't necessarily get a chance to answer. So I'll try and take some time to do that as well. Stay tuned, guys. There's going to be more stuff coming. Like I always say that at the end of my videos, but there's going to be more reviews that I'm working on. I'm just trying to stay in front of the wave, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy those videos as well. So again, thank you for tuning in. Stay healthy, stay safe. Don't spend too much money on gear, but make sure you get something to spoil yourself every once in a while, just so that you have something to keep you going through this crazy COVID period. And stay tuned. All right, guys, I want to see you on the channel, so stay tuned, keep rocking, and there'll be more great videos coming your way. Give me a thumbs up if you like the channel, and I'll see you again next Sunday. All right, guys, take it easy.